context. But has something like this happened before? Yes, it has. The most famous example is the Carrington event of 1859, the largest solar storm on record. It was so intense that telegraph systems worldwide went haywire, and auroras were seen as far south as the Caribbean. Back then, we didn't have nearly as much technology as we do today, but even then, the effects were significant. Imagine the damage something like this could do in our tech-dependent world. 5. How to prepare. So, should we be panicking? Not really, but preparation is key. Scientists are closely monitoring the sun's activity, and space weather forecasting has improved significantly. Power companies, satellite operators, and other industries are also taking steps to harden their systems against potential solar storm impacts. For the average person, it's a good idea to have an emergency plan, just like you would for any natural disaster. This could include having backup power sources, extra food and water, and staying informed about space weather alerts. 6. Conclusion. So, while a solar storm in 2025 could be a big deal, we're not completely at the mercy of the sun. With the right precautions and awareness, we can mitigate the risks and keep our tech and lives running smoothly. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. And let me know in the comments, what do you think about the potential of a solar storm in 2025? Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Welcome back to our channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into the controversies surrounding the Paris 2024 Olympics. While the Olympics are a time of celebration and unity, the lead-up to the Paris Games has been anything but smooth. From environmental concerns to social issues, let's break down the biggest controversies. First up, let's talk about the protests. Since Paris was awarded the Games, there have been numerous protests from various groups. Local residents and activists have voiced their concerns over the displacement of communities and the high costs associated with hosting the Olympics. Many argue that the funds could be better spent on social services and infrastructure improvements for the city. Construction projects for the Olympics have also been a major point of contention. Several historic sites and neighborhoods are being impacted by the development of new venues and facilities. There's a fear that the cultural heritage of certain areas may be lost or irrevocably altered due to the rapid pace of construction. Budget overruns are a common issue with Olympic Games, and Paris 2024 is no exception. Initial estimates have already been exceeded, leading to fears of further financial strain on the city and its residents. The costs of security, infrastructure, and operational needs continue to rise, leading to debates about the true economic impact of hosting the Games. Another controversy involves the selection of sports and events. Some traditional sports have been excluded or reduced in favor of newer, trendier events. This decision has sparked debate within the sporting community, with many athletes and fans feeling that it undermines the history and spirit of the Olympics. Security concerns are always a top priority for any major event, but the Paris 2024 Olympics have faced particular scrutiny. Given the recent history of terrorist attacks in Europe, there are significant fears about ensuring the safety of athletes, spectators, and residents. This has led to increased surveillance measures and a heavy security presence, which some argue infringes on civil liberties. We've been told that the Olympics will bring in a lot of business, but we're also worried about the disruptions. The construction, the road closures, the security checks, it's all going to make it hard for us to operate normally. And what happens after the Games? Will all this investment actually benefit us in the long run? Housing has also been a hot topic. The influx of visitors and the need for accommodation have driven up rental prices, making it harder for locals to find affordable housing. There's also the issue of displacement, as some neighborhoods are being cleared to make way for Olympic facilities. Internationally, the Paris 2024 Olympics have also faced criticism. Questions about fairness in the bidding process and concerns over the influence of powerful stakeholders have cast a shadow over the event. There are fears that the Games are becoming more about political and economic power plays than about the athletes and the spirit of competition. One of the more high-profile controversies involves Imam Khalif, a prominent figure in the sports world, who has criticized the Paris 2024 organizers for not adequately addressing the needs of underrepresented communities. Khalif has been vocal about the lack of diversity in decision-making positions and the insufficient support for minority athletes. Angela, a transgender athlete, has also brought significant attention to the inclusivity issues within the Olympics. Angela's participation has sparked a heated debate about the inclusion of transgender athletes in competitive sports. While some argue that their participation promotes equality, others claim it raises questions about fairness in competition. As we get closer to the Paris 2024 Olympics, these controversies are likely to continue. While the Games are meant to be a celebration of global unity and athletic excellence, the issues surrounding their organization remind us of the complex realities involved in hosting such a massive event. Thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on the Paris 2024 controversies in the comments below. Do you think the benefits of hosting the Olympics outweigh the drawbacks? We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. Is the end of the world closer than we think? Some people believe an asteroid could collide with Earth in 2038, but how true is this claim? Stick around as we explore the facts, the myths, and what scientists are doing to protect our planet from a potential catastrophe. First, let's understand what asteroids are. Asteroids are rocky objects that orbit the Sun, mostly found in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. They range in size from a few meters to hundreds of kilometers. While most remain in the belt, some get nudged into paths that bring them closer to Earth. Every day, small asteroids enter Earth's atmosphere and burn up before reaching the surface. But larger ones, those over 140 meters, could pose significant threats if they impact Earth. The 2038 asteroid rumor. Rumors about a doomsday asteroid hitting Earth in 2038 have circulated widely. These stories often stem from misinterpretations of scientific data or sensationalist media reports. But is there any truth to these claims? Let's delve into the facts. NASA and other space agencies actively monitor near-Earth objects, NEOs, to assess their potential collision risk. As of now, no asteroid is confirmed to be on a collision course with Earth in 2038. Scientific monitoring and predictions. How do scientists predict asteroid impacts? They use telescopes, radar, and data analysis to track the orbits of asteroids and predict their paths. This allows them to identify potential threats well in advance. NASA's Near-Earth Object Observations Program, along with international partners, constantly updates its database with new observations. Their goal is to detect and track potentially hazardous asteroids early, giving us time to devise mitigation strategies. One of the most advanced tools is the SENTRI system, which analyzes asteroid data to predict future close approaches and impact probabilities. SENTRI is continually updated with new data, ensuring accuracy in its predictions. Potential impacts and consequences. While the chances of a catastrophic asteroid impact are low, it's important to understand the potential consequences. An impact could cause widespread destruction, climate changes, and tsunamis, depending on the size and location of the collision. The most famous asteroid impact is the one that occurred 66 million years ago, believed to have caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. This impact left a crater over 180 kilometers wide and had global consequences. Mitigation strategies. What are scientists doing to prevent such a disaster? Several strategies are being explored to deflect or disrupt a potentially dangerous asteroid. One method is the kinetic impactor, where a spacecraft is sent to collide with the asteroid at high speed, altering its trajectory. NASA's DART mission, launched in 2021, tested this concept by successfully impacting a small asteroid, demonstrating our ability to change an asteroid's course. Other strategies include using lasers to vaporize part of the asteroid, creating a thrust that changes its path, or deploying a gravity tractor, where a spacecraft uses its gravitational pull to nudge the asteroid off course. Sure, here's an extended version of those lines. So, will an asteroid destroy Earth in 2038? Based on our current scientific knowledge and ongoing monitoring efforts, the answer is a reassuring no. While it's always wise to remain vigilant and prepared for any cosmic surprises, there is no immediate threat looming on the horizon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Hey sports fans! Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the incredible journey of one of India's most celebrated wrestlers, Vinesh Phogat, and her road to the Paris 2024 Olympics. But there's a shocking twist you won't want to miss. If you're as excited about the Olympics as we are, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. A legacy of excellence. Vinesh Phogat is no stranger to the Olympic stage. As a member of the famed Phogat wrestling family, she's been a dominant force in the sport for years. With her eyes set on the Paris 2024 Olympics, let's take a look back at how she got here. Vinesh first made headlines on the international stage at the 2013 Commonwealth Wrestling Championships. Since then, she's won multiple golds at the Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, and has represented India in both the Rio 2016 and Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The road to Paris. But the road to Paris hasn't been easy. After a challenging Tokyo 2020 Olympics, where Vinesh faced immense pressure and scrutiny, she bounced back stronger than ever. In the lead-up to Paris, Vinesh has been working tirelessly, both mentally and physically. She's been honing her technique, studying her opponents, and most importantly staying injury-free, a critical factor in her Olympic preparation. Her recent performances have been nothing short of spectacular, showcasing why she was seen as a medal contender at Paris 2024. Vinesh has been competing in international tournaments, securing her place among the world's best wrestlers. The Paris 2024 Challenge. So, what could we have expected from Vinesh Phogat at the Paris Olympics? The competition was set to be fierce, with the world's top wrestlers vying for gold. But Vinesh had a strategy, one that combined her signature aggressive style with a refined tactical approach. Vinesh was likely to face off against some familiar foes, including reigning champions and rising stars. But if there's one thing we know about her, it's that she thrives under pressure. Her experience, coupled with her relentless drive, could have very well led to a podium finish. The shocking disqualification. But just as Vinesh Phogat was gearing up for her Olympic journey, an unexpected hurdle emerged, a disqualification that shocked fans across the globe. Vinesh was disqualified from the Paris 2024 Olympics due to an unfortunate issue. Her weight exceeded the 50 kilograms category limit. This was a heartbreaking turn of events for an athlete who had given her all to represent her country on the world stage. Weight management is crucial in wrestling, and this incident underscores the fine margins that can make or break an athlete's Olympic dreams. While the disqualification is a setback, it doesn't diminish Vinesh's achievements or her standing as one of India's greatest wrestlers. Beyond the mat. Beyond her wrestling prowess, Vinesh Phogat is an inspiration to millions. Her journey is about more than just medals, it's about breaking barriers, challenging stereotypes, and inspiring the next generation of female athletes. Whether she's mentoring young wrestlers or advocating for women's sports, Vinesh's impact extends far beyond the wrestling mat. Her story is a beacon of hope and determination for aspiring athletes everywhere. As we reflect on Vinesh Phogat's journey, we're reminded that the path of an athlete is filled with triumphs and tribulations. Though she won't be competing in Paris 2024, her legacy and influence will continue to inspire. Thanks for watching. If you're a fan of Vinesh and believe in her future, smash that like button and share this video with fellow sports enthusiasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more updates on athletes and their journeys. Until next time, keep cheering for our champions.